Day baseball from the Great American Ballpark. Things have gotten off to a great start. Game one highlighted by the Skip Schumacher grand slam. Last night, fireworks before the first pitch is thrown in the bottom of the first. Benches would clear. After that, the Cardinals got to Johnny Cueto. Yadier Molina, one of the stars. Redbirds look for a sweep today. From the banks of the Ohio, we're at the Great American Ballpark in a steamy afternoon for baseball. Cardinals wrap up the road trip looking for a sweep over the Cincinnati Reds and looking at trying to get first place all by themselves. And with Al Hrabosky, I'm Dan McLaughlin. The Cardinals have really played well, and certainly, Al, when you look at how this series has unfolded, the Cardinals have not trailed in this series.
They really haven't. They've dominated. You look at game one, it was 12 pitches from Leak, and the Cardinals had a victory. Then last night, Phillips and Molina, that kind of woke up the Cardinals. They played great baseball. They went out and convincingly won that ball game, and the Reds played maybe their worst game, committing 3 errors.
Adam Wainwright will get the start here this afternoon for the Redbirds. He's in that Cy Young race. He already has a win on this road trip in Florida. Bronson Arroyo for the Reds. Baseball next. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. Want to go home with me tonight? I'm the designated driver. Budweiser, responsibility matters. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And by Chevy's Expert Auto Service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. Well, we love to do this. Our broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. Today they're watching in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, Japan. Wherever you're watching our ball game today, thank you for your service. And enjoy a little baseball. Let's take a look at the lineup for Tony La Russa here for Game 3. Felipe Lopez, John Jay, and Albert Pujols. Then Matt Holliday, Colby Rasmus, Yadier Molina, Skip Schumacher, Adam Wainwright, and Brendan Ryan. Cardinals will face Bronson Arroyo. Good season for Arroyo. 12-6 with a 3.83 ERA, making his 24th start of the year.
And recently, when he's facing the Cardinals at here in home, he is very, very tough. And back-to-back games starts 14 innings with no earned runs.
First place on the line this afternoon. Felipe Lopez, a .417 hitter against Arroyo in his career. 15 for 36, pair of home runs and 3 walks. 1 ball, 1 strike this series. 2 for 10 with a double and a couple of runs scored. Outfield is straight away and deep. Slapped out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Big question coming into play today. Will last night carry over to day baseball?
I do not believe it will. I think it will motivate both ball clubs. They know what's at stake.
1-2 pitch. If anything, though, to me, it has woken up this Cardinals team.
I think you're absolutely right. The Cardinals, not that they came in flat. They knew it was a big series. They've been there before. Right, that, you know, when you really look at game one, it was just the 12 pitches in the 4th inning where the Cardinals exploded with 6 consecutive hits, scored 6 runs off a leak. That game was basically over, but that was the only inning they scored. And then last night with the fireworks in the bottom of the 1st inning, I think that really motivated the Cardinals even more so.
Lopez, a grounder 2. Brandon Phillips at the center of it all makes the play for the first out. So Bronson Arroyo with the Pittsburgh Pirates, Boston Red Sox, and then traded for Willie Mopena to come to Cincinnati.
So you go down with 2 hands, get right down on the ground with a knee. Even though the ball takes a little funny hop, it comes up on him, but because of the 2-hand approach, he easily smothers it and completes the play.
Here's John Jay, overall batting .371, 3 homers and 14 driven in.
John Jay had hit a little bit of a lull right after the Ludwig trade, but on this road trip back over 400, 7 for 17.
3 hits in this series. To Arroyo, makes the play. 2 outs. The defense behind Arroyo this afternoon: Gomes, Stubbs, and Bruce in the outfield. Roland, Yanish, Phillips, Votto along the infield. Battery today: Arroyo and Ryan Hannigan is your catcher. That's presented by Dobbs.
Very good defense for Cincinnati. They were best in the National League in percentage until last night's game, where they committed 3 errors. Now they find themselves in second place.
Just see, they were pressing after what happened in the first inning. Cueto is not himself as far as changing speeds, and the defense let him down. Votto under it. Wainwright to the mound when we come back. Reds Cardinals, Game 3 here this afternoon on Fox Sports Midwest. Bottom of the first, and it's no score. Cardinals and Reds. Brandon Phillips leads it off as we take a look at the lineup for the Reds. Phillips, Yanish, Votto, Roland, Gomes, Bruce, Stubbs, Hannigan, Arroyo. Umpires taking a close look at Phillips and Molina here. Does not tap the shin guard. And away we go.
Well, at least he's not a slow learner.
Yachty gave him every opportunity. And here we go. Showing bunt and looks at a ball. Phillips hitting .283 on the year. And Wainwright, our Marshall Wireless Sprint starter.
16-6. 11-0 at home. 5-6 on the road. Second best ERA in the National League, and he owns the home ballpark. 11-0, 1.22. That's first in the major leagues, but 5-6 with a 3-point ERA on the road.
1-1 pitch. In this series, Phillips is just 1 for 10, and there's the numbers that you just spoke of, our Toyota keys to the game. And since July 1st, Al, Brandon Phillips only hitting .218. You talked about it last night, backing up your statements.
Right. If you're going to go out and make some statements, you better back it up.
Good pitch. He jammed him, broke his bat. Now 1 for 11 in the series. Cardinals defensively reads like this: Holiday, Rasmus, and Jay in the outfield. Lopez, Ryan, Schumacher, and Pujols. Battery, Wainwright, and Molina. Molina has just been a workhorse, and that's presented by Dobbs.
Adam just has that look, doesn't he? Determined to go out there and
think about all the innings that are starting to pile up on Yadier Molina, catching in the heat of Florida, catching all 3 games here in Cincinnati.
Oh, he had the big 3, and he's caught them all season long, but has protection because LaRue possibly a concussion after being kicked in the face by Cueto last night. The Cardinals did make a roster move, and they brought up a young rookie, 25-year-old Stephen Hill, who was leading the Texas League in home runs and RBIs. He's a catcher, but he's also played the outfield and first base. A little versatility.
Popped up, but out of play. Speaking about Molina, you know, he's hitting .363 since the All-Star break. That's 14th best in the major leagues.
He really had a tremendous attitude when he said that.
There's a grounder left side. Lopez settles and throws.
A very disappointing offensive first half. Made the All-Star team, but the average down 230. That I'm just going to turn it on and have a great second half, and he has. The spin right there is a rotation. One of the things that Wainwright did in his last start, remember he had the complete game shutout, 2-hitter, dominant pitching in Florida, is he really used his new changeup.
How did he learn that, and what has he done differently?
Well, he learned it from Tim Lincecum at the All-Star game. And
on a hop to second base.
Throws it at a higher velocity, but he feels he gets much more movement.
Talk about that as the game goes along here this afternoon. Good start for Waino. Holiday, Rasmus, Molina coming up. Live chat happening right now at foxsportsmidwest.com. Announcers, producers, writers online right now. And you can join the chat at foxsportsmidwest.com. Cardinals with Wainwright and Carpenter going into this ball game 35-5 against teams from the National League Central since the start of last year. We talked about it briefly last night, but that's how you win your division. If you dominate within that division, dominate teams like the Reds, you win.
And yet the Reds have 34 victories against Central Division clubs and the Cardinals 28.
Holiday 6 for 22 against Bronson Arroyo. Seems like Arroyo's been around a long time now, doesn't it?
Sure has. And
really serviceable.
You know, very much so. When you look at the last 5 years, he's one of only 4 pitchers that have thrown over 200 innings and at least 32 starts.
He's effective with that high leg kick. He'll change his arm angle and varies the speeds with the breaking ball. No balls, 2 strikes on Matt Holliday. That's what we're talking about there as he drops down. Westbrook does a little bit of that too.
Sure. But I think Arroyo's more the type of pitcher that will invent something if he has to, just to give it a different look, different release point, and varies speeds dramatically.
Since the trade of Ryan Ludwig, the Cardinals actually have played well, and their offense has been very good. 7 runs per game, 6-3 record. Ludwig, by the way, homered twice for the Padres last night. As a team, the Cardinals hitting .322 in that time too.
Yes. And one of the things John Mozeliak, Cardinals general manager, felt that adding another premier starter would take a little pressure off the offense, and having a quality pitcher out there, you don't have to score as many runs, but sometimes it just works where everyone is relaxed and they're not pressing. But I think so much of the Cardinals offensive success depends on what Albert and Holiday do. When they hit, everyone relaxes and they hit around them.
2-2. Holiday rips it into center field for a base hit. First hit in the ball game. Hit 3 hits last night, game 2.
You go back to the first pitch, 68 miles an hour on this little floater just to get ahead breaking ball. Then he threw a couple 79-mile-an-hour breaking balls and then an 89-mile-an-hour fastball, and pretty good location right there. But you know, Holiday, you can throw 95, that ball might get by him, but you throw it 89, he's too good of a hitter.
Colby Rasmus hitting .272. Here's an interesting thought from last night, thinking about it. If Molina would have been ejected, LaRue is hurt, and you don't have Stavino up here.
Right.
Who's your catcher?
Well, I think that's part of their thinking was right now with all this heat and with the off day tomorrow and the fact that Wainwright's pitching and who you're facing, you know, you've got to have Molina make the start today. But just a little backup because told that maybe a slight concussion for LaRue. They felt like they had to bring on some support. Interesting choice is Stephen Hill.
Our understanding too is that the ribs may be an issue for LaRue, so he'll be checked out when we get back home. Cal Loesch solid in a rehab start last night, so he'll pitch, it looks like, over the weekend against
Sunday.
Chicago.
He's penciled in Sunday. Pitched very well last night. Over 100 pitches, 9 strikeouts, just 1 run in 7 innings. There's LaRue. I mean, obviously, you ask him, he's going to be out there and say, hey, I'm fully available.
So to make room for Hill, Jeff Suppan has been put on the disabled list.
not for crawling out of the pile, but
No.
he did get a strain of the groin the other day jogging.
Off-speed pitch lifted into right field. Jay Bruce is there. One away. Here comes Yachty. Fans are saying Bruce every time he catches the ball, but these are Bruce.
Oh, surprised by that reaction. And they're trying to say here in Cincinnati that Molina was the instigator, and we just don't see it that way.
Yadier Molina has caught now 852 innings. That's 60 more innings than any other catcher in the National League.
Takes great care of himself. You know, he wants to be back there. He wants to help his ball club, and right now the way he's swinging the bat to go along with his defensive abilities, why not? It's that little floater. Now you can't go up there looking for a 68-mile-an-hour pitch or whatever that one was.
Big Cardinal fan Dave Bender watching our telecast today on Fox Sports Midwest, and apparently a lot of folks in St. Louis were doing that last night. Our highest rating ever. We appreciate all the support. Again, let me repeat that. The highest rating ever in the history of Fox Sports Midwest last night.
And the Cardinals have the highest rated telecast in all of baseball before last night.
Al, you must be doing something right.
And, you know, that's the only graduate of the Mike Shannon School of Diction.
1-1 pitch, tapped foul. 1-2 on Molina. Got his average up to 255. 5 home runs and 42 RBIs.
In this series, 4 for 8 on the road trip, 8 for 16, and a 5-game hitting streak, 10 for his last 20. All sounds like 500 to me.
The 1-2 pitch. Guided into right. Bruce coming on to make the catch. Holiday back to first. Well, a hero from game 1 was Skip Schumacher with his grand slam. 4th home run of the year. 31 ribbies and batting .258. 2 for 7 in the series.
His first professional grand slam at any level. How important, Dan, is it for the Cardinals to jump out to a lead?
No doubt. They did that last night. We talked about the importance of that in game 1. If you're the Reds, you're saying here we go again if they do.
Sure. And the Cardinals are 46-12 when they score first.
Very good seats available, by the way. The Reds will be in St. Louis September 3rd, 4th, and 5th. A weekend series, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and good seats available. And that 3rd is a Busch Bash Friday. Red Shandies will be signing autographs. On Saturday, it's Creve Corps Photo Day. Start time has been moved up. It's a national broadcast. And then Sunday is the Coca-Cola and Pasta House pennant. Up the middle, base hit. So giveaways. And also a weekend half price night on that Friday, and we want to see the place packed when the Reds make their visit to St. Louis, the final time the teams will see each other.
And also, that 3-game series is the only 3 home games in a stretch of 20. Cardinals play 17 out of 20 on the road.
Folks are standing by right now at the Cardinal offices, cardinals.com, to get your seats. Off day tomorrow, Chicago in town, first of 3 on Friday night.
Adam could help his own cause as one of the better hitting pitchers in the league.
2 outs, 2 on. Ubaldo Jimenez, if you're wondering, lost last night 1-0 to the Mets. As Wainwright is making his case for the Cy Young Award.
A strong case. And Carpenter split the vote last year, allowing Lincecum to steal it. In my estimation, I mean, he's an outstanding pitcher, but he even pitched poorly down the stretch where the Carpenter and Wainwright were just awesome. He's won 35 games between last season and this season, the most in major leagues.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Adam Wainwright. Jimenez is at 17 wins. Wainwright at 16. Roy Halladay of the Phillies at 14.
Wainwright second in ERA.
You'd have to think before it's all said and done, Carpenter might get even more serious consideration for the Cy Young too, with the way that he's been pitching.
Don't steal it from Adam again. But Wainwright has what, 5 complete games, 2 shutouts.
Two and two. 2 runners on, 2 outs here in the second. Wainwright takes a ball. Earned run average for Adam at 2.07, just back of Josh Johnson, 1.97. Full count, runners off with a pitch. And he walked him. Bases loaded for Brendan Ryan. At 10:30 this morning, couple of leaders that we've seen in St. Louis. Now one with Cincinnati. That's Scott Rowland and Chris Carpenter talking. They visited for about 10 minutes prior to the game.
I think Scott, kind of was trying to be a peacemaker, and so was Carpenter at the beginning. And then all of a sudden, temper started flaring, and I still believe Scott Rowland thought he could control Carpenter, but he maybe charged him a little aggressively and was mistaken by Carpenter. But those are good friends, and all's forgotten.
For now. Strike one on Ryan.
I mean, they're back to warriors when they're facing each other, but right now they probably just want to forget what happened.
Bases loaded, no balls and a strike on Brendan Ryan, 9th place hitter. 0-2.
Brendan had a couple bad at bats early, but then he really did kind of pick up the pace and went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Sorry, but let me correct that. I don't think that's right, but he did get at least 1 base hit later.
In the hole here, 0-2. Inning started with a base hit by Halladay. Rasmus, Molina both fly to right. Schumacher a base hit up the middle, and Wainwright the 2-out walk. 0-2 the count on Ryan with the bases loaded.
And 1 base hit, and then his last time up lined the ball hard to second.
Got him. But chasing that pitch, the slider in the outside corner. Rowland due up first when we come back. Bottom of the second, and there is no score. Cardinals and Reds in a battle for first place. Good chance here for the Redbirds, but Ryan chases that pitch and strikes out with the bases loaded.
Yeah, that is going to be a tough pitch for Brendan Ryan. He has hit over 300 against Bronson Arroyo, but that was the 5th time Bronson has struck him out, and you drop down and get Brendan to swing at that pitch out of the strike zone. He's going to have to be more disciplined.
Scott Rowland, Johnny Gomes, And Jay Bruce for the Reds. Hitless in this series, the former Cardinal. Good breaking ball from Wainwright. Strike one.
Wainwright has so many weapons and just a great mental makeup.
Deep left. Holiday back. Near the wall and makes the catch.
Hanger.
Let's take a look at our text poll. Who is the Cardinals' biggest rival right now? U.S. Cellular text poll, assuming we're going to get a lot of B. Text rival, A or B, 432-432.
I think B's going to win out today, and Friday night it'll be A.
Friday night, Thomas Diamond gets the start for Chicago. Jake Westbrook for the Redbirds. Chris Carpenter and Carlos Zambrano on Saturday. And Loesch and Ryan Dempster on Sunday. Cubs picked up a win last night, and they beat Tim Lincecum, who has not been nearly as effective this year as in the last couple of seasons. And they say he's battling those odd mechanics that he uses. Johnny Gomes out in front. 333 in his last 7 games.
I like the way Gomes plays. He plays very high energy. Can be misconstrued from a visitor standpoint, but he likes to play this game, plays all out. And here he could have a real tough time with Wainwright with his breaking pitches. He's really a fastball hitter, and Adam, with all the weapons he possesses, you would think he probably wouldn't throw him after a first pitch strike with a fastball. Well, he throws one there, but you're thinking he's not going to throw a strike with that.
Looked to be a pretty good pitch here.
Tried to go up the ladder with him, and right there on the black, but doesn't get the call.
1-2 pitch. Two and two.
It's going to be the cutter. Mentioned that he's throwing his changeup a lot harder. In Florida, he was throwing it about 85, 86. There's the cutter. That'll be an 87. Come back with the cutter.
And gets the ground ball. Brendan Ryan. 2 Pujols. Gomes retired. Well, we hope you take in a Cardinals game in one of Busch Stadium's most popular all-inclusive areas. Homer's Landing and left field landing features. Great field level seats, food and drinks, all for one low price. Get yours today at Cardinals.com. I'll go back to the changeup that you were talking about. Is it the grip that is changed a little bit that Lincecum has talked to Wainwright about?
I'm not really sure, because he was telling me that Lincecum really has very small hands, and it's kind of how he throws it. But then he's had to, because his hands are so much larger and fingers are larger, that but what he feels is that, I said, well, I knew it was a little harder, and he said, yeah, I feel like I get a lot more movement out of it the way he throws it. And I think it's just a sort of a variation off the circle change, but does something a little different with the fingers.
There's Drew Stubbs, batting .234.
Jay Bruce got that base hit yesterday. Missed his first ball game of the year.
Start number 25 today for Wainwright. Third of the year against the Reds. What has been astonishing about the year that Wainwright has put together, he's 11-0 at home, 1.22 ERA in 12 home starts.
He's got a major league record consecutive of 27 quality starts at home. And he's posted an 8-0 record with a National League leading 1.45 ERA in day games that he starts this season. So a lot of things going his direction.
1-1 pitch. Tapped foul. And he gets better when runners get on, which is not often, but with runners in scoring position, opponents only hitting 144 against him. That's best in all the major leagues.
For whatever reason, he has had his problems with Cincinnati. He's got a career record of 2-3 with a ERA of 4.68. 1-1 this season. ERA 4.15.
Beach ball made its way onto the playing surface.
And there's another one in the stands I can see behind the Cardinal dugout. Probably in Southern California.
1-2 pitch. And another chance here for Brendan Ryan. Force play at second. Jim Hayes will join us. Plenty of news to get into with Jim when we come back. You're looking at a photo submitted by Anna Moore of Paris, Illinois, the winner of our Fan of the Game photo contest. Anna wins a digital camera from Creve Cord Camera. Every week a new contest with a new winning photo. Just head to foxsportsmidwest.com to send us your photos and enter to win. The managers last night ejected in game 2 of the series. Tony La Russa and Dusty Baker. Those two did not exchange the lineups today. Yeah, they're used to it. San Francisco, Chicago now here.
There's plenty of foul footage of those two going at it.
Here is Felipe Lopez trying to bunt his way on. Arroyo over. And they just get him. Nice play. Felipe is 0 for 2. So, Jim, you went into the clubhouse last night. You riled up Tony La Russa, huh?
Yeah, I felt like I was in the middle of the fracas in his office after. I asked him a question about the little scuffle, I guess prematurely before he wanted to get into it, so he was all over me. It's happened before. It'll happen again.
Now, he said he was sick to his stomach. Is that correct?
Yeah. Not by my question.
During the game?
Generally speaking, yeah.
There's John Jay.
He did agree with the umpire's decision to just kick out the managers.
Yeah.
He thought that was the right thing to do. Apparently not asking about the fight too early. That is something that riled him up.
I went to talk to Dusty and I said, Dusty, you know, it looked like it was pretty well settled. What happened? What ignited it? He goes, Oquendo. Oquendo come running in there, started chirping, and he told him to shut up. And Tony said, you don't talk to my coaches. And Dusty told Tony what to do.
There's a base hit into right field.
And then Carpenter started yelling.
Well, how is Jason LaRue? We talked about the fact that he'll be looked at in St. Louis with the potential of an injury to his side or his ribs, but you were up close to Jason. How about his face and the cuts that he absorbed from the cleat of Johnny Cueto?
He's got a nice cut over his lip that required some stitches. He's got a mild concussion, a little lightheaded. He's listed as available, but he's concussed, so I don't think they would go in that direction. He did have a huge ice pack around his ribs, and he showed me some of the bruising. He and Carpenter both looked like they were put on these giant-sized griddles, and because they have marks all over their chest. Ironically enough, in a spike pattern.
Ironically
how
enough.
could that happen?
Here's Pujols with the runner at first, and a 1-0 pitch.
And the Cardinals I talked to, including LaRue with Cueto, they understand that these things happen, little scuffles, but they all drew the line at using the spikes as a weapon.
Sure. I would assume there's going to be a pretty good suspension coming down to Cueto, and you don't know about from the Cardinals side, but Cueto would seem to be an easy one.
I could see how that would be the only one.
Yeah, because if you're going to.
There really were no punches.
And if you're going to suspend other guys for doing what everyone on the field was doing, the only guy that was doing something different was Cueto because he used his spikes as a weapon.
But as a starting pitcher, you know, if you're going to make it a significant fine, you've got to have missed more than one start, or you know, a suspension.
Suppan was at the bottom of the.
He found his way out. He found his way out.
He was going through some of the legs. It was like a maze. John Jay at second base, not knowing it was a foul ball, and here comes Dusty Baker.
Larry Vanover is apparently nobody's telling him to go back.
Did they call the balk?
It's the only thing you could think of. And Dusty loses another one.
So then strike the pitch to Pujols. It's a balk, and so now it's 1 ball 1 strike.
And I must admit I didn't see it. I was looking at Jim Hayes, and they're in their estimation not a discernible stop. So that is real borderline there.
Yeah, keep your eyes on the field, Al.
Thank you. It's much more pleasant.
So now it's 1-2 with a runner at second. Runner at second base. John Jay, outfield deep for Pujols.
Albert leads the league in RBIs.
Speaking
real
of
quick, isn't it?
Yes, Dusty Baker. I was a little surprised not to see Edmonds in the lineup against Wainwright. That's ripped, but foul, or maybe even a guy like Nix. But looking at some left-handed bats against Adam, but certainly Edmonds in this series against his former team. A little extra motivation, you'd think, for Jimmy.
Now he's 40 years of age now. He is nursing that Achilles strain a little bit. And maybe Dusty remembers, you know, the bad base running mistake he made last night.
1-2 pitch.
But Nix has been one of their hottest hitters.
He absolutely destroyed the Cardinals earlier in the 2009 season.
And he's a very good pinch hitter, so maybe save him for an opportune time.
Outfield is deep, straight away for Pujols. Cardinals stranded, the bases loaded in the second inning, and here comes a 2-2. Rolling with it, makes the play. One thing that has always, I think, amazed all of us with Scott Rowland, his accuracy, whether he's throwing from his backside or has to backhand it, go to his left off balance, but it's always at the chest of the first baseman.
Well, he's 6'4", 240 to 250, and athletic like a shortstop. But really what separates him is that strong and accurate throwing arm.
Soft hands, too, for a big guy, and that's a key.
Now Holiday singled back in the second inning up the middle.
I like the way Matt handled the whole Fracas thing in the post-game media session. Yeah, I don't have any comment on that. He wanted no part of that discussion. Good for him.
Well, there is no doubt. Al and I were talking about this. The Reds and Phillips, they've gotten this team to wake up a little bit. Not that they weren't playing well, but It just gets your attention here with the pennant race.
I think that is also one of Tony's great strengths, is when an opposition creates an opening that he can exploit and use it to motivate his team. You know, he's one of the best at that.
That's a foul ball.
Usually when there are storylines like that, it doesn't usually equate into a team being able to get extra motivation, because baseball is different than, say, a sport like football, where it is more emotional. A lot of baseball depends on the opposing pitcher. But however you cut it, the Cardinals did get something out of what started.
This one was different.
Phillips. Yeah.
And I mean, Tony can do this, and I think Phillips, you know, where if you could get an honest survey of his own teammates, would all admit that he made a big mistake. And you know, so they're all upset with him. And you know, sure, he's entitled to his opinion, but in this case, you don't wake up a sleeping giant.
A 2-1 pitch, instead time called. We're in the third, scoreless ball game. Winner of this game finds themselves in first place, a game ahead of the other. Strike two on Holiday, 2-2.
And I go back to before the first game. I said the pressure was going to be on the Reds, because they're trying to send a message to the Cardinals that they're good enough to take the crown. And there's a lot of first-time guys over there, never really gone through a pennant race, and really, this isn't the pennant race yet. This is a big, big series, and it's the biggest game of the year, but it's not what they're going to experience the next 50 games.
Holiday strikes out. Arroyo again pitching out of a little jam. The Cardinals have stranded 4 in the first 3 innings. Cardinals baseball this afternoon, presented by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And by Jack in the Box. Right now, get Jack's really big chicken sandwich combo served with curly fries and a drink for $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. Skyline Chili, that means we're in Cincinnati. Al's favorite. And Al, the other day, you really were actually suffering from a little stomach ailment. That's just what you need to see.
It makes me sick every time I see it.
That's why the guys want to show it to you.
Good rehash.
No score. Bottom of the third. Hannigan, Arroyo, and Phillips.
Talked about how Molina, how much work he's had. Where the Reds get a pretty good situation where they split. Not, you know, it's not, you know, Hernandez is the #1 catcher, but Hannigan gets a lot of starts, and you know, they got a pretty good combo right here.
Good breaking ball, but doesn't get the call. Jim, what was the mood of the clubhouse after the game last night?
I think it was excitement. I think guys didn't want to get caught up in talking smack about what had happened, but I think they took a lot of pride in the fact that 2 teams had a little scuffle. One team responded well and got a very important victory, and I think that says something about the Cardinals.
3-1 the count.
And I saw Bruce Keeson, you know, advanced scouting, and Bruce in his playing time was kind of you know, a semi reputation as a headhunter. And he started his fair share of fights. And I said, hey, did you bring back any memories last night? And he goes, nah, there's no punches anymore. There's no punches. And he said, you know, last time I was on the field, he was a pitching coach. He said, I got tired of going out there and shoving and pushing without throwing punches. What's wrong with these guys?
I mentioned yesterday that Wainwright comes back after falling behind 3-1. As far as fights go in baseball, normally all it is just guys getting in each other's faces, and nothing's done. But yesterday, there was a little bit more than that. When you had Carpenter going into the screen and Cueto kicking, and Carpenter, for a guy that didn't pitch, he was interviewed an awful lot after the game last night.
He, you know, I think he was upset with what happened when he was pushed against the fence. His thing was, he and Roland embraced. You know, they were kind of just holding on to each other, not trying to fight each other. Then the scrum pushed him back toward the screen, and next thing Carpenter knows, he's being kicked with spikes, and he was very upset about that. He was worried about LaRue. He said that, you know, you kick a guy in the eye with a metal spike, a guy could lose an eye. He was concerned.
You can see Wainwright now fighting the strike zone a little bit. 1 ball, 1 strike. Speaking of Scott Rowland, I noticed last night that it looked like he was almost swinging with one arm, and indeed he was asked about that after the game.
Well, he was asked about it before the game because I was speaking to him about the whole thing. I wanted to get his point of view because I didn't hear the sound we ran in our post-game show. And I said, by the way, that one-handed swing, what's going on there? And he said, I just wanted to get him one-handed. And I go, no, is his shoulder okay? And he said, it's fine. Then one of the other guys on the team asked him the same thing, and he said his shoulder was fine.
Yeah, he's got a very unique sense of humor. Did you get your hug? That's what we really need to know.
Yesterday I gave him a hug.
Don't sound real happy about it, Jim.
No, I don't like to hug the opponents, but with Scott I felt like he was going to get one anyway.
But I mean, he normally hugs you.
Yeah. No, I don't hug him back. That's what you're driving at.
Well, it sounded like you did.
No.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Did you hear what Rowland said in regard to the whole scrum? He said, boy, it's the first inning. I'm already tired. I'm looking around. Where's Cairo?
2-2. For a hot day, this strike zone is tight.
Yeah, it's Mark Carlson, our home plate umpire, make it a lot easier on himself. He doesn't get to go in between innings, just call strikes.
Arroyo, it took 57 pitches to get through 3. Now, he is one of those guys, Al, that we've seen. He's got a rubber arm. I mean, if he wanted to throw 130 pitches today, he'd probably be fine. Traveling this season, take the Cardinals with you and subscribe to MLB.tv. And you can see every Cardinals game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Cardinals.com for details. Local in-market blackouts will apply. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere.
You know me, I always look at what happened yesterday. I try to find what happened in my career and kind of go back to a game against Montreal. And it started the night before, but Lou Brock was on first. Ground ball to shortstop, perfect double play ball, and Tim Foley double clutched, and then he fed the ball to Pepe Frias at second base, and Lou Brock just nailed him, sent him out in left field. Foley came running over, said, "You can't do that." Luke got up and popped him in the jaw. We had a real good fight at second base. The next day, it carried over, and we had a brawl exchanging the lineup card. As Reggie Smith, who was accused by Dave Bristol of fighting like a girl, said he scratched him. And Reggie took the lineup card. Bristol came out there with the lineup card, tried to sucker punch Reggie, and we had a brawl exchanging the lineup card.
And a grounder back to Wainwright. Phillips 0 for 2. Hopefully not as eventful for you following the game today.
Here's hoping.
No score. Cardinals take on the Giants on August 20th. Coke Zero and Walmart Cardinals banner night. That is a Busch Bash that night against the Giants, and also a weekend half price night. And Mike Matheny will be signing autographs in the Ford Plaza before the game. And we certainly hope folks have taken advantage of the half price nights. There's a number of those still remaining this season. And a weekend half price night, family of 4 can come to the park for as low as $38. And the next one will be on August 20th against the Giants.
Don't want to put you on the spot, but since we are on Armed Forces Radio and television, you know, don't we have a military special?
Discounted seats for military personnel. As Colby hits a fly ball out to left. Now, we mentioned that series with the Reds. Again, that's September 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And if you're thinking about coming down for that weekend series to Busch Stadium on the 3rd, We've added the fireworks night.
Yes.
We have added fireworks on Friday, September 3rd. Red Shandies will be signing autographs before the game. The 4th is the photo day, and then the 5th is the pennant. Kids can run the bases and also jerseys off our backstay. So a loaded weekend with the Reds. 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Get your tickets at Cardinals.com. Molina 0 for 2.
About some fireworks during the game.
Like to see that too.
Sure.
By the way, Jaime Garcia earned his 10th win of the year yesterday. It was game number 112 of the season for the Cardinals. Only other Cardinals rookie that reached 10 wins in that amount of time, Alan Bennis, did it in the 96th game of the 1996 season. So kind of lost in everything was Garcia picking up a win.
Right. And what was that? The first rookie to win double figures since Simon Tachi.
Right. Well, I think he's still pitching in independent baseball.
You know, I think he went to Venezuela in the wintertime to play winter ball. And Dan, if you still have that dream and you still can lift your arm over your head, you know, do it.
Schumacher has a base hit, singled in the 2nd. Phillips can't get it, and a base hit. Skip is 2 for 2. And it brings in Wainwright.
Been a long time, but Skip Schumacher now 260. Hit 300 the last 3 years. Got off to a horrible start. You know, beginning of the season, that would have ended up in Phillips's glove. Now the luck's starting to turn for him a little bit.
Adam Wainwright has allowed just 1 base hit. That's the Cardinals' 4th hit against Arroyo. Phillips backs up on it with time and makes the play. Redbirds have stranded 5. Scoreless midway through 4. Back in 2006 in our This Date in History presented by Schnucks, the Cardinals beat the Reds 6-1 with the help of 2 homers from Chris Duncan and a solo shot from Jim Edmonds. Bronson Arroyo started that date in baseball history, and he's got the start today for the Reds. Scoreless ball game, 1 hit allowed by Adam Wainwright. As we move into the bottom of the 4th, it'll be Yanish, Votto, and Rolen.
Have you heard about Chris lately? Duncan?
I have not.
The last time I talked to his dad, he was telling me that, you know, I think he's finally healthy with the neck issues, getting his full strength back. So he wasn't hitting much, but, you know, was hitting in tough luck. But we need to talk to McDougal because they were teammates earlier this year at AAA. And then Shelley Duncan is back in the big leagues and getting a lot of playing time.
Yeah, he's playing for Cleveland. They've got a couple of young prospects that they think are going to be stars for them. And, of course, they've got a few injuries out there. So Shelley Duncan getting a chance to play. And with Cleveland has become a fan favorite because of his hard-nosed style. No surprise, is it?
No.
Good pitch in on the hands. Yanish to Brendan Ryan.
You made reference to Chris taking out guys at second base, and Shelley plays that same way.
There's Votto, who grounded to second first time up. Hard hit, but Pujols is there. Settles, feeds Wainwright. 2 outs.
What do you think, Albert? In my mind, he's got to be a contender again for a Gold Glove. Nobody ranges as far to his right than he is. Covers a lot of ground right over that first base bag on the line, and his arm, you know, not example there as he just flips it to Wainwright covering, but still has a very strong and accurate arm.
See the at the end of the year, total chances and assists.
Right.
He'll be among the league leaders. I think that has to be part of the equation of how many balls he gets to.
Sure. And that's why we rave about Brendan Ryan and why we feel he has to play every day, because of his tremendous range.
1-0 pitch to Rolen. Just missed a home run. The hanging breaking ball, his first time up. He's 0 for 1. Fly to deep left.
You don't often say that in this ballpark. You hang one, it usually you pay for it. I'm sure he's throwing that ball exactly where he wants it. I don't know what Fox Tracks is showing, but Lena looks like he's having a conversation. Might have been a bit wide, but trying to get Rolen to expand his zone.
Strike 2. Just to go back to what we were talking about earlier with Jim, Rolen just did not look comfortable last night with his swings. You just don't know if that's a byproduct of the shoulder or if something is nagging. But literally, it looked like he was swinging with one arm.
Recently, he's had a little problem with a hamstring, but he said all season long his shoulder's been fine, and power numbers indicate so.
Brendan Ryan with it. Over to Pujols, and Rolen retired 0 for 2. We head to the 5th. Brendan Ryan, Felipe Lopez, and John Jay coming up. Hey, we've got a bobblehead coming up. The Train Chris Carpenter bobblehead. That'll be on August 22nd. Cardinals take on the Giants. 25,000 fans, all ages, will take home a collectible bobblehead that features Chris Carpenter, courtesy of Train. For more information, tickets still available at Cardinals.com. Ninth place hitter, Brendan Ryan. And Felipe Lopez and John Jay. Popped up. And the catch is made by Hannigan. Not an easy play. Trivia time here in the top of the 5th. Scoreless ball game. Brendan Ryan 0 for 2 now. This is presented by AT&T. When was the last Cardinals sweep in Cincinnati? To go back to 2005. Early May. Last time the Redbirds did it. The 10-9 game was a game in which the Cardinals came back as Rolen makes the play. John Mabry hit that dramatic home run off of Danny Graves. Longtime closer here with the Reds. Lopez 0 for 3. John Jay 1 for 2. Cardinals about hit the Reds 4-1 in this ball game. And Rolen was playing in the hot corner. He's playing in here with Jay. There's a look at that line shot.
Soft hands, quick hands for such a big man.
One ball, one strike on Jay. 2 outs, nobody on. Game number 113 here today for the Cardinals. Popped foul out of play, 2-2.
Dog days of August, but for the Cardinals, it has been winning baseball. Ever since Tony's been here, the Cardinals have played excellent baseball. And when you get into August, one of the reasons is Albert Pujols. It's what a tremendous month. More home runs in August than any other month. He's hit for almost 350 in August throughout his career.
Count is full on John Jay. Slicing, fair ball down into the corner. John Jay with another double. He has just been a doubles machine.
I think that's 16 now for him.
2 hits today.
He's got his 15th double last night, so another one here. 2 hits, 2 for 3. And boy, he just, I mean, I don't think anybody really thought that he would have this type of success at this young age. And he's only 25, and you know, he has had no problems whether it's coming off the bench or in the lineup, and they're going to walk Albert again.
So this is the second time in the series that Dusty Baker, with first base open, will walk Pujols to get to Holiday. Last night they did it, and they got burned.
Holiday leads the major leagues with intentional passes. Pujols leads.
So second walk issued by the righty. And this week, Fox Saturday Baseball, Cardinals and Cubs. NL Central Showdown. And it's presented by Sprint this week at 3. Fox Saturday Baseball. Runners at first and second. Let's see if Holiday can't do some damage. Last time up, struck him out on a high fastball. He singled back in the second inning. The pitch right there, both sides. Home plate umpire Mark Carlson not giving that side of the plate.
I think it was outside, but
here's a 1-0 pitch.
that one looked a lot better. 67 miles an hour, and that one looked like it was a strike. First one I think was a ball, but the second one I think it was a strike. But
the 2-0 pitch to Holiday as Arroyo has a long look in. Arroyo's been pitching out of trouble here all afternoon long. The Cardinals had the bases loaded. 1 inning. They have stranded 5 on the day. Conversely, when you look at what Wainwright has done, Al, he's got 10 ground ball outs. So his stuff is moving.
You know, last time out, Wainwright only allowed 2 hits. One was a swinging bunt by Ramirez, and then the other was just sort of a bloop hit in the shallow center beyond Brendan Ryan's reach. So he's making his pitches.
And a walk, bases loaded for the second time. This next pitch already will be 80 this afternoon for Arroyo.
Dan, all series long and prior to this, you keep on always looking at how many times Dusty goes to his bullpen, and wearing out a couple elder statesmen down there. That'd be an interesting thing to follow down the rest of the season. How Rhodes and Cordero survive.
Outfield is deep. Rasmus is fly to right. He's also fly to left. 0 for 2. Catches the corner. Saw a grand slam on opening day from Molina to start this year. Schumacher, game 1 of this series. Pujols in early July of last year. Will we see another one here today? Oh, 1 pitch, and Colby slices one down the left field line, and that ball is foul. Gomes couldn't come up with it. 0-2 the count.
Since last September, 3 Cardinals have gotten their first grand slam in this ballpark. Late last season, it was Carpenter hit a grand slam. Molina, as you said, opening day. Schumacher, his first one. First game of the series. Or it be Kobe. Boy, that will silence this crowd that's trying to come alive.
What helped Arroyo going into this inning was just a 7-pitch 4th inning, but running into problems here. Back-to-back walks following the double by John Jay.
It's way inside, but this crowd is, they're wanting everything. Don't want to run the count full, so look for a pretty good pitch to hit here. Arroyo probably an off-speed pitch.
And it was. Kobe got a piece.
And a lot of time, what you throw 2-2, you keep on throwing that pitch.
Drops down, pulled foul.
When you drop down to a left-hander, that's a lot of people don't recommend that because the lefty gets a real good view of the release point. To a right-hander, it appears you're throwing the ball behind his back, but to a left-hander, he sees the ball very clearly.
Without question, you'd figure that Cardinals will get into this bullpen of the Reds. It's 85 pitches, and Arroyo's not through 5.
You mentioned it earlier. He's not a guy that's going to be begging out. He'll go as long and as hard, and I don't think the pitch count means that much to him. But look at the 29, 24, and a couple real efficient the first and 4th innings.
Full count.
What you do not want to do.
Runners off with this next pitch. Holiday at first, Pujols at second. John Jay, the runner, at third.
Wainwright's pitching. 1 run may be enough.
Some of these fans on their feet. Three-two is hit out to deep center field. At the track, at the wall, grand slam! They've done it again. Grand slam, Colby Rasmus. 4-0 St. Louis. His 19th of the year.
I said that it may be enough, just 1 run. Wainwright is 15-0 when he receives 4 or more runs. And the 3-2 pitch. And down and in, you just had to hit it to center field. But this ball and ballpark is electric as he sends it over the deepest part all the way back to the batter's eye. The base of the batter's eye.
Grounded to Roland off his glove. Molina hustling down the line, and they still get him. Colby Rasmus silences this big crowd here in Cincinnati. 4-0. 1 swing of the bat. Diamond and Westbrook coming up on Friday night. What's on Tap, presented by Budweiser, will come your way at 6:30 here on Fox Sports Midwest. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. First career grand slam for Colby Rasmus. And that really was, in many ways, a fantastic at-bat by Colby. He took some tough pitches. He fouled some good pitches off. And he centered that for a grand slam, his first of his career.
Maybe the biggest swing of his career. And now it's Wainwright time to shut things down. Must make a statement here and throw up a 0.
Here is Johnny Gomes.
And with all the great numbers by Wainwright, once again 15-0 when receiving 4+ runs of support this year.
Back-to-back games now that Dusty Baker is elected to walk Albert Pujols. Last night it was Holiday that burned him. This time Holiday has walked as well. And then the grand slam. That is the risk that you run. You know, you could have a situation where you give up that big inning, and that's what we've seen.
And I always say that you know, a manager makes all these decisions, but they're only as good as the execution of your players. And there's nothing wrong with the decision. It's just, you know, Arroyo wasn't able to execute well enough to make this strategy, you know, work, but it was sound.
And Arroyo was ahead 0-2 on Colby Rasmus. Swing and a miss. And the first strikeout for Adam Wainwright.
And that's interesting there too, Dan, because, you know, he's with the league leaders in strikeouts, pitching very effectively, but only his first strikeout.
It's been the ground ball outs today.
What you would prefer, especially in a hot day, the breaking ball that we say is the pitch to Votto, and when you could get him to swing at a pitch a foot outside.
Here is Jay Bruce, and he pulls it foul. And people may be saying, well, wait a minute now, what are you talking about? We love to see strikeouts. Strikeouts, though, elevate a pitch count.
Yes, and when you're young, every pitcher is in love with the strikeouts. When you get a little smarter and wiser, you go, why not get a guy out on 1 or 2 pitches? A minimum of 3 and a strikeout, and usually it's more like 5.
It was strikeout number 155 this year for Adam Wainwright. That puts him one back of Josh Johnson. The league leader is Roy Halladay at 168, and then Lincecum at 163. Rasmus entered that at bat with 2 career bases loaded hits. Now make it 3.
And a big one.
Three-2 pitch. Foul ball. Looked like it hit his foot. But Bruce not limping at all. And here comes Dusty Baker. Bruce didn't sell that one bit.
He looked at Carlson, the home plate umpire, when he did not signal foul ball. He did the right thing and start running. But see if Dusty can at least elicit help from the other umpires. Gonna lose another one. Now they will confer, and that's all that Dusty can ask for, and I think this probably will be reversed.
Back on August 11, 1986, Colby Rasmus was born. Not a bad birthday present today. Hits a grand slam on his birthday.
They're going to let it stay. So
maybe not.
oh yeah,
That's a good call.
yeah.
That is the oddest bounce coming out of a batter's box you'll ever see.
You know, it looked like the frame was altered as it looked like he took out the part that hit him. But clearly saw the unusual spin. Looked like it was going to bounce and hit him, and it did not. And it rolled into fair territory.
Nothing going right for the Reds right now. 2 outs, and here is Drew Stubbs. 0 for 1.
One of the things that I was always suspicious about with all the come from behind wins, the miraculous wins the Reds had this year, and they had 25 come from behind wins, 15 in their last at bat, and that was before July 1, that they couldn't pull away from the Cardinals. Normally when a club has so many of those dramatic wins, you know, they just run away with it. And, you know, it's one of those magical seasons that ends up in postseason. But they couldn't pull away from the Cardinals. And we were saying all along the first half, the Cardinals were underachieving. They have not played to their capabilities. And we felt that they would play better. And they have in the second half.
3-2 pitch to Stubbs. Base hit into center. Cardinals camp out presented by Bass Pro Shops, and Tracker Boats is back Friday, August 27th. Spend a night on the field and under the stars at Busch Stadium. Ticket information 314-345-9500 or visit cardinals.com/campout. Two outs. Here's Ryan Hanigan. He's picked up 10 of his 29 RBIs in his last 7 games.
Or no one is on deck, trying to conserve some energy.
Good breaking ball. 1-2. Still go back to that at bat by Rasmus as being one of the better at bats we've ever seen him take in his young career.
And he's going to have a long career, but it's all a learning process. As you said, he showed some great discipline to lay off a couple pitches, foul off others, and got a pitch he could drive.
1-2 pitch. Instead, time is called and granted awfully late.
Horrible. And Adam should have gone ahead and executed the pitch. When you stop a pitcher that late and his momentum started to come forward, you can always hurt yourself. So just go ahead and throw it. And if it kind of slips and goes towards the umpire, so be it.
1-2 pitch. Fair ball. Lopez. Low throw. And an error on Felipe. Could see that coming.
Really could. Right there for Felipe. It was a long throw. And that bunny hop right there. Takes his time. Throws a sinker. And it was not out in front where Albert could get that real true hop. Albert's got real soft hands. Give Hanigan some credit. He's running hard all the way, and Lance Nix will pinch hit for Arroyo.
So the day is through for Bronson Arroyo in an all-important game. He goes 5 innings for the Reds, but with a guy like Wainwright on the mound, you're Dusty Baker. This might be one of your better shots to get back in the game. You've got to take it.
You have to take it. And Nix, as we mentioned, has had some dramatic hits against the Cardinals. He leads the Reds pinch hitters in hits with 11, bats with 38. He's reached base in his last 6 pinch hitting appearances, 4 for 4 with 2 walks.
Bill Bray, the lefty, getting loose in the pen. Nix takes a ball.
Powerfully built, and he can drive the ball.
Nix, ground ball to short. Brendan Ryan across the diamond and makes the play. Another ground ball out for Adam Wainwright. Red strand 2. He pitches around the air. 4-0 after 5. Baseball this afternoon on your home of the Cardinals. Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Lumiere Casino. Play $100 on the house. Just visit Lumiere Place or River City Casinos and sign up a My Choice card. They will reimburse your losses up to $100 for trying them out. There's a live blog question and answer session happening right now at foxsportsmidwest.com. BJ Raines, Jim Hayes, and Pat Paris. This is our Chevy call to the bullpen, as well as the guys behind the scenes do a great job for us day in and day out. Lefty Bill Bray.
His 3rd appearance in the 3-game series here in Cincinnati. His 19th overall. He was recalled from Louisville on June 27th. He's pitched very well, particularly of late, and missed just about all last season recovering from Tommy John surgery.
Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Part of that big trade with the Washington Nationals.
Back in 06, it was Bill Bray, Royce Clayton, Brendan Harris, Gary Majeski, Darrell Thompson. They were traded to the Reds for Austin Kearns, Felipe Lopez, and Ryan Wagner.
Well, Ryan Wagner kind of blew out quick, didn't he?
Sure did. Had arm troubles, and that was it.
Former #1 draft pick with the Reds. Think about young pitchers, and you can't help but thinking, you know, the Nationals are kind of in a no-win situation. What do they do with Strasburg?
Would you shut him down?
Yes.
I would too.
But yet on the other side, you know, I mean, they have a tendency to baby guys so much that, you know, you got to learn, you know, what the difference between pain, the difference between discomfort, and what's just normal soreness.
Schumacher retired.
But if he's the franchise and, you know, go with, you know, just one of the real big pieces right there, you've got to make sure he is healthy in what is a lost season for Washington.
Bray, another guy that has come back from Tommy John.
It wasn't Strasburg, more his shoulder, wasn't it?
Yes.
You know, like elbows, you know, it's not, you know, ball clubs don't even think twice now if you have to have Tommy John.
And that's a base hit for Wainwright up the middle. This season, easier than ever to find the seats you want or sell tickets to the games that you can't make on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. You'll find great seats, great service on StubHub all season. Just head to StubHub.com and choose your seats today.
Almost disappointed that Wainwright got a base hit. Get back on that bench and conserve your energy.
That's a base hit into right for Brendan Ryan. Cardinals about hit the Reds here this afternoon, 7-2, and lead at 4-0.
You make him run Another base. Good piece of hitting right there. Look at the concentration. Let the ball come deep on him and then push it to the right side. Instead of hitting off the front foot, let the ball come in deeper. Use your hands.
Here's Lopez. And he looks at strike one. He's lined out to third. Turned around this time. Hitting from the right side. He's also grounded back to the pitcher and grounded out to second.
It's the fourth consecutive day that Bray has pitched.
Felipe pops it up. Infield fly. Here's John Jay, who's got a couple of base hits. Jordan Smith, we saw him last night getting loose in the pen for Cincinnati.
Bray's pitched 4 times in a row. I mean, that just doesn't happen anymore. You wouldn't think twice about it years ago, but they're so protective of pitchers, and they all get hurt anyway.
Single in the third, double in the fifth. 2 outs, 2 on. Two and 0, and Pujols on deck. Figure this might be Bray's last hitter, one way or another.
This is Bray's 6th appearance since last Tuesday.
And a strike. 2-1. That catches the corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a ground ball to the right side. Phillips there. And he gets Jay by a step. That leaves Pujols on deck. The difference today, the grand slam by Colby Rasmus. Phillips, Yanish Votto. 4-0 St. Louis. Cardinals' biggest rival right now. That was our text poll. U.S. Cellular. Number of folks texted in the Cincinnati Reds. 86%. Close to 1,000 votes in our text poll. And it's 4-0 St. Louis leading the Cincinnati Reds. They've out hit the Reds 8-2. This has to be, from a Cincinnati Reds perspective, just a disheartening 3 days of baseball with what's transpired so far.
Well, it's not over yet, but as you said, so far, you're absolutely right. The first really meaningful series since '99. They haven't been to the playoffs since '95.
They've got a big road trip out west coming up. 9 games. Arizona, LA, San Francisco. Cardinals head home. Chicago on Friday night. No balls and 2 strikes. Bronson Arroyo, starter, goes 5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, walked 3, struck out 2, only 85 pitches today. This will be pitch number 76 from Wainwright.
As you mentioned, they had a scoring opportunity, so they had to pull him.
Good pitch.
Right in on the hands after a slow breaking ball. You run a fastball up and in.
Wainwright has that tremendous ability to get in on a right-hander with that tailing pitch. Late action. Seen that today. Handful of times jamming these righties. Curveball hit out of play. Phillips is 0 for 2. This is the top of the lineup. Twice he has grounded back to Adam Wainwright.
That last pitch of the curveball, Molina first put down a fastball and Wainwright shook him off. That doesn't happen many times. These guys are in sync. See what Molina throws down now. The fastball again. So this time he'll agree to it.
Grounder. Pujols gets it on the hop. And Phillips is over 3. Another ground ball out from Adam Wainwright.
Another ball that he does not get out of the infield.
Now, what's it tell you from a fan at home watching this game to get all these ground ball outs? Why is that happening? And what's happening with Wainwright's pitches?
Well, one, he's down in the zone. He's got them hitting his pitch and doing what he wants. When you get this many ground balls, you're going to have a couple of them go through. But with that good curveball or even the fastballs, everything is down. He's got that sort of the sinking action, but the curveball, when he's got that good one, they just pound it in the dirt.
It's 13 ground ball outs. And if you add in the error by Lopez, it's 14 ground balls he's induced.
2 fly ball outs today. I'm thinking his last time out in Florida.
There's a fly ball right center. Colby is there.
So that's 3 fly ball outs. I think in Florida when he threw the 2-hit complete game shutout, I think he only had 1 fly ball out in that one.
So there's a look at what he's done today. 13 ground outs, 3 fly outs, 1 strikeout.
Now I have to educate you again, Dan. When you throw ground ball after ground ball, I have yet to see a ground ball home run over the fence. It's amazing.
Your wisdom is truly inspirational.
But in this era where fly balls, and in this ballpark, if you can get ground balls, you're going to win.
Here's the 0-1 pitch and a strike taken by Votto. 0-2. A pitch in our gun at 95.
There you see 2-1 strikes to balls, and just occasionally he's thrown a couple pitches that are a little more hittable, but how about that?
Ooh, you don't see Molina do that very much.
Mark Carlson is shaking his head, but I wonder where that was on Fox Tracks, because I agreed with Molina. Set up a way when you got to reach that way. When you got to reach that way, it does take pitches away from your pitcher, because he was set up outside. The glove has to reach, and it showed it was right on the black, but many times you don't get the call.
They are barking from the Cardinal dugout.
That's why it was a good idea to throw out both managers last night.
I think this one might be Dave Duncan.
Usually is. And I got a text about.
Here's Molina now talking to the home plate umpire again.
About Chris Duncan, who injured his hip and is out for the year.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Votto swing and a miss. There's a strikeout, and again Molina talking with the home umpire. Rough series here for the Reds, and it continues. 4-0 after 6. Kim Dussold is today's merchandise winner. The Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. Cardinals hit a home run in the 7th. Kim Dussold qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. You can register still by visiting a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Just joining us, the story today. Colby Rasmus with the bases loaded fell behind 0-2. Worked the count full. Fouled off some tough pitches. Took some tough pitches. And eventually knocked it over the wall at center. Say that this ballpark can give up some cheap home runs. That one was not. Ball was smoked.
You get hit at center field, you earn it.
So Chevy called to the pen. Pujols, first pitch. Pops it up a mile high. Who wants it? Giannis over, the shortstop. He's got it. Albert today, the intentional walk is 0 for 3.
You know, Albert did score a run, so he's scored a run in 10 straight games, but he's got his 10-game hitting streak on the line.
By the way, Brandon Phillips 0 for 3 today, 1 for 13 in the series. One for 13.
There's one RBI that was on a ground out to second. Really hasn't done much for the better part of a month and a half, right?
If you're going to make those comments,
yep,
you got to back it up.
Back it up.
Good pitch in on the hands of Holiday. Popped up. Votto giving chase. It's out of play. Hall of Famer Joe Morgan just stopped by the booth. He's working for the Reds, special assistant to Walt Jocketty. Wainwright, a story today as well. 13 ground ball outs. Has not walked a man. 2 strikeouts. Total of 2 hits for the Reds. That's the other thing too from the Reds perspective, and we've mentioned this a number of times. When you don't hit, you look flat. And in this big series, it comes away looking flat.
Sure does. And you know, in this ballpark, you just can't walk people because, as you mentioned, the ball can fly here. Jordan Smith is promoted from Double-A, and he's pitched very well of late, as he hasn't allowed a run since the All-Star break, covering 11 games and 13+ innings. Big guy that signed Red 6th round back in 06.
2-2.
He's got a younger brother that is a left-hander that was selected by the Indians in 08.
We got to the ballpark today and found out that last night was the highest rated game in the history of Fox Sports Midwest. And again, thank you to all our Cardinal fans and viewers throughout the Midwest. We do not take that for granted. We appreciate your support. 2-2 pitch. Look how far Rasmus is away from the on deck circle behind home plate.
As a pitcher, I would complain about that.
Surprised
make a move.
He's that far back.
There's only one purpose for a on deck hitter to do that, is so he can get a better read and a look at the pitcher. Stand there as a left-handed hitter, you know, trying to kind of size up what the pitches look like.
That's the furthest I think I've ever seen a player behind home plate.
I agree. And
to put it in perspective, that camera angle we have there is very tough for folks at home to see, but he's right to the edge of the C of the Cincinnati emblem behind home plate. There's a good look at it.
But from our angle, straight behind home plate, he really looks like he's
walk to Holiday.
He got a good look.
Let's go pitch by pitch, and this is the at bat by Colby Rasmus, the grand slam presented by Chevy.
There's your 0-2, and he tried to elevate the ball inside, looks at it, then the breaking ball, he fouls it off on 2-2, fouls this one off, out away from him, making it 3-2, bases loaded, and the ball's down. But remember, he's a left-hander with a low ball hitter, and hit it right off the base of the batter's eye for all the scoring in this game. His first career grand slam, giving him 19 home runs, 54 RBIs. So
very well could wind up with 25 to 30 this year. First pitch is strike. So he's got the grand slam, and he's also flied out to right and flied out to left. 1 for 3.
He's only 23 years of age. Last year he hit 16 home runs, 19 already. I thought it was a little lofty when he told me his dad, who has been his hitting guru and his coach from Little League, his high school coach, Tony Rasmus, and his dad kind of set a goal of 5 home runs a month. He told me that last year. I thought that was a little bit lofty, but I don't think it's unreasonable to think that's what he'll do, now or in the very near future.
That play right there sums up the series for Brandon Phillips.
Now, he's a former Gold Glover, but it didn't look like he got the best jump on that ball either.
Base hit to Colby, 2-hit day.
And just beyond his reach. And Brandon Phillips' favorite ball player, favorite Cardinal, is coming to the plate.
Runners at first and second with 1 out.
They all tie for the favorite. He hates them all.
Up the middle, little chopper, base hit for Yadier Molina. Holiday will score. It's a 5-run St. Louis lead. Molina with RBI number 43.
Molina has let his bat doing his talking.
Runners at the corners now for Skip Schumacher.
Just away from him, just bounces it up the middle. It goes over to the mound and through. Holiday comes in with that very important 5th run. Now a grand slam by the Reds can't tie you. And all of a sudden it's gotten pretty dark.
It sure has. Now if there's a double play, watch out, Brandon. Other side, base hit. A base hit for Schumacher.
Ryan Price, the pitching coach, out to talk to his young right-hander who's given up his first run since the All-Star break. Young kid bypassed AAA, and Wainwright will have a chance to help himself. But just shooting the ball to the right side, Yarnish playing up the middle, and he's a fingertips away from making the play.
Looking out towards the third base side, clouds are rolling in, and it's cooled off considerably.
Pitcher doesn't quite do it justice as how dark it is.
There's Wainwright.
It can rain in Mudville after the game.
There you go.
I think Yachty might get a different reception in St. Louis Friday night.
Again, we've got the Reds September 3rd, 4th, and 5th in St. Louis. Wainwright swinging away, pops it up, and that'll find the seats. 3rd is the fireworks night that we spoke of earlier. Giveaways that weekend, also a half price night mixed in. Fireworks is not on your schedule right now. That was just added September 3rd against Cincinnati.
What kind of promotions do you have this weekend for the Cubbies?
Good baseball.
Oh.
The Cubs. Fans barking right now, thinking that maybe hit Wainwright. Remember what happened earlier? That ball that hit the dirt and came out for a fair ball.
Up and in. Gordon Smith was born in American Fork, Utah, and resides in Pleasant Grove, Utah. I've not been to either of those towns.
1-2 pitch on its way. Wainwright to Rowland. Out at second. Out at first. Double play. Molina with an RBI base hit. 2-run score, and it's 6-0. Six nothing St. Louis. Bottom of the 7th rolling in. They need to turn on the lights here at the ballpark.
Thinking the same thing.
It's gotten dark.
And starting to kick up a little bit. Wainwright's ERA currently is at 2. So he whittles it down. It's about if he completes a shutout here today, he'll probably get to 1.97.
Scott Rowland will lead it off against Wainwright. Don't adjust your television set. It has gotten dark. And the lights are not on here at the ballpark, and they need to be.
The surprise, the umpires have not ordered that. And it does take a little time for them to adjust. And it's getting windy, and there's some weather.
First pitch taken for a ball by Rowland. 0 for 2. Quiet in this series. He's also flied to left and grounded out to short. 1-0 pitch. Another ground ball out for Adam Wainwright. Now with 14 of those. It's that late movement that he's got. There's Johnny Gomes.
You have to believe for Wainwright right now, the way this temperature has dropped a good 10 degrees, he must feel like he's in air conditioning.
Feels like it for us. I don't know, you've been working hard over there. Off day tomorrow for the Reds, and then Florida in town for Cincinnati. And they'll have an off day, travel day on Monday. Then Arizona, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. They've got 3-3-3. Here's another ground ball out. Schumacher though bobbles it. An error on Skip. That's the second error the Cardinals have committed this afternoon.
Skip's 14th error. Cardinals have now 74 errors in the season. Just went in to reach in and try and make the exchange and drop the ball.
The one thing about the Reds playing out west, Cardinals will be playing earlier, and you post wins.
Yeah, that's the best thing. You're able to post that win. And the guy that's chasing you just really feels the pressure.
Here is Jay Bruce. 1 for 2 today.
And you'll hear guys say, oh, I don't scoreboard watch.
First of all, they all do.
Yes,
and especially at this time of year.
Especially this time. But don't kid yourself. A lot of them watch it from day one.
You bet. Strike 2. Now, we did see Molina talk to the home plate umpire. It was a very cordial conversation as Wainwright, the Cardinals, left the field back in the 6th. Curveball and carved him up. 3 pitches. See ya. It almost looks too easy right now for Wainwright, doesn't it?
3rd strikeout. Just a good breaking ball, and he's making some pretty good hitters. I don't want to say silly, but it makes them look like they're overmatched. Stubbs has one of the hits today.
And takes a strike. He is 1 for 2. Another beauty in there for strike 2.
Some of these guys are just taking that pitch because if they swing at it, all they're going to do is pound it in the dirt. People are starting to move in the seats, so you wonder if that rain is starting to come over the stands.
And a strikeout, 2 in a row to end the 7th. Rain starts to fall here in Cincinnati, 6-0. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cardinals. Begins to pour now here at the ballpark. And Arthur Rhodes wondering, will that be it?
Well, I saw the crew chief had a meeting with the groundskeeper, and he may indicate, and now they're going to call the grounds crew out. We'll have a stoppage in play.
Yeah. Rhodes warmed up, and that will be it. They're going to get the tarp on the field, and we will have a rain delay beginning here at 2:48 in Cincinnati. Oh, Helitech is happy right now. High ratings and a rain delay. It's a Helitech rain delay. And we'll be right back. It's 6-0 and a Helitech rain delay. St. Louis on top. Glad you're with us for day baseball. Fox Sports Midwest, top of the 8th. And right before the first pitch for Arthur Rhodes, for those of you that were here, you saw that the tarp was put on the field. He had just finished up his warm-up tosses, and Brendan Ryan was to be the hitter. So the tarp went on the field. At 2:48 local time, it started our rain delay, and we understand that there is some rain in the area, but it is stopped. So they pulled the tarp off the field. They'll have to clean that up just a bit, and we will resume play probably within the next, say, 10 to 20 minutes or so. So make sure you stay with us here on Fox Sports Midwest as we wrap up the final 2 innings of play. Cardinals looking for a sweep. You're watching a Helitech rain delay right now, and it's the top of the 8th. Cardinals behind a grand slam by Colby Rasmus and RBIs from Molina and Schumacher own a 6-0 lead. Stay with us here on Fox Sports Midwest. We are back, and Arthur Rhodes will not be pitching. It'll be Nick Massett. Glad you're with us here on Fox Sports Midwest. And this is just a few moments ago. Look at this. They are going to play with the field in that condition in shallow left, center, and right.
Nobody cares about anything but the pitcher's mound, home plate, and the infield.
Wow.
Very, very wet conditions in the outfield, even right around the dugouts.
The amount of money, though, that is paid to these players.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you're taking a chance, and I'm just surprised that you're seeing these guys play in these conditions.
I think the only thing that makes sense is that you have more rain. So look at the left field. Johnny Gomes likes that.
So Nick Massett will be the pitcher.
How about his 59th appearance?
Heisey is in center. And here is Brendan Ryan. A 46-minute rain delay. And the Cardinals do have activity in the bullpen. Unfortunately, Adam Wainwright, you wouldn't think would come back out after this long rain delay, and he's given you 7 innings, but it looked like he was well on his way to another complete game.
Yes, and I believe his ERA is now under 2, but error on the side of caution and turning over the bullpen. There's a lot of guys down there need work.
Brendan Ryan 1 for 3 today. The story has been the grand slam by Colby Rasmus and the pitching of Wainwright, and if the Cardinals hold on, they'll lead the Central by a game, and having come into Cincinnati and swept the Reds. Nice pick by Rowland yet again.
It doesn't surprise us, but even after this rain delay and wet conditions, Scotty makes a nice play.
You just don't see games played with the outfield conditions like this hardly ever, if ever.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, that there's probably more rain, so they figured that they'll take the chance. No one's going to get hurt instead of trying to delay. But I'm very surprised the field doesn't drain better.
Behind the shortstop, huge puddle there. One-0 pitch to Lopez. Popped up left side. Rolling over with room. 2 outs. Tough day for Felipe, 0 for 5. Brings in John Jay. As you mentioned just moments ago, Al, we now look up at a radar here, and there is more rain on its way, so you do have a short window before that rain would hit, and that's why we have the situation we're in right now.
John Jay, another multi-hit game for him, another double.
And an 0-1 pitch. Taken at the knees. Oh, 2. So Arthur Rhodes removed from the game without facing a batter.
There's Boggs warming up. I talked to him at the hotel before the game and commented that it's been more than a week since he last pitched. And he kind of went through a little rough spell and just thought that they were trying to give him a little break. But now you got to fight to get your control back.
Ooh, Massa doesn't get the call, and it's 2-2. Phillies are hoping to get Chase Utley back by the final week in August, which is well ahead of schedule as they get prepared for their stretch run.
Well, Utley said he was going to be back and defy the odds, and that would be ahead of schedule.
2.5 games out are the Phillies. Slowly hit to first. Fair ball. Votto steps on the bag. Cardinals baseball brought to you by Bud Light Lime. The drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. By AT&T Mobility. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. AT&T, everything possible. And by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. I have a question for you, Al. We were talking during the break. Arthur Rhodes was announced as the pitcher to come in, but yet did not throw a pitch. I always thought, my understanding was he would have to at least throw one pitch before being lifted if there was no injury.
And I think, you know, with common sense is, you know, you could just sit there and say, hey, he's not necessarily injury, but he's stiffened up and he's not going back out there. And I'm sure Tony would go along with that decision. But it does almost indicate that how fragile the 40-year-old is.
Mitchell Boggs, 45th appearance. As you mentioned, he needs some work, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's Boggs last pitched on August the 3rd. That was where he got roughed up in that Houston game that Garcia started, and went 1 inning, 4 hits, 5 runs, all earned, and walked a pair. So.
And a little chopper off his glove to first and out. Hannigan is out, 0 for 3.
With Boggs tipping it, it slowed it up and made it a lot more difficult play for Schumacher, but he comes in, guns the ball over to Albert, and he gets him by a half a step.
Westbrook, Carpenter, Loesch this weekend against the Cubs, and no Jaime Garcia. Garcia pitched last night. Sunday would be his day. That'll go to Cal Loesch.
But I think anytime that you can get an opportunity to push him back a little bit. Remember, Loesch and Garcia were on the same pitch yesterday, so I think it makes a little sense as you're a little bit concerned about those innings piling up, and you, with the off day Monday, you might even push him back a little bit to keep you know, Wainwright on schedule.
Wainwright 97 pitches, 68 strikes.
And I think his ERA is down under 2.
Oh. That was off his seat, wasn't it?
Let's hope. Here's everybody's okay. Looks like the glasses might have gotten broke.
2-2 to Heisey. A broken bat. Ryan to his left. Wide throw. Out at first. Heisey tripped up on Pujols. Albert's fine, and Heisey limping towards the dugout.
Make sure Albert's okay. Of course, that's a nightmare for these umpires. Slings the ball over there, has a tendency to sail. Albert stays on it, but he stumbled. You know, he really didn't look like he made too much contact with Albert. Might have kicked him a little bit in the shoulder, but he started losing his balance, so he jumped for the bag. Oh, how awkward. You don't jump, run through that bag, jump like that, and you know, if it's a little bit further than what you think, you know, boy, you can really hurt yourself.
Phillips 1 for 13 in the series. Looks at strike 1.
As he's flexing his, looked like his knee, but it appears to be okay in the dugout. You get the feeling that this Reds crowd that stuck around feel like every call has gone against them in this series.
I'm sure they feel like everything has gone against them. Don't forget, Missouri Lottery, Cardinals Live coming up. Post-game show.
Reds team leads the National League in hitting in so many offensive categories, but they have just been shut down by Cardinal pitching.
Wainwright, 97 pitches, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. Last pitch by Boggs was 99. Hawksworth in the bullpen, getting loose. 1-2 pitch.
99 again. He is well rested, and he's throwing strikes and getting ground balls.
In the right field and a base hit.
Going out at first. Wouldn't that be fitting? Ball hit to the outfield by Phillips in this series.
Paul Giannis over 3.
He's filling in for Gonzalez, who out with an injury, but recovering quickly from that Cabrera, it's an abdominal strain, isn't it?
Cabrera?
Yes.
Oblique. Popped up. Pujols over.
Good effort. Pretty soggy terrain down there. Jeff Kellogg hustling with him. He's a crew chief. They sure don't want to see anybody get hurt. Just a little bit beyond his reach.
One ball and 2 strikes. Base hit in the right. The ball stops in the puddle, and it's first and third with 2 outs. How about that? Doesn't even get out to the right fielder.
He just shoots this ball the right side, hits that grass, and just stops. Jay comes in aggressively. Phillips was going to stop. He was going to stop at second, but then when the ball just stopped dead in front of John Jay, he went out there and brought it in. Tony's going to come out and appears to make a pitching change.
So runners at first and third, 2 outs.
Trevor Miller coming in
to face Votto. Miller and Votto with 2 runners on when we come back. 4 hits for Cincinnati, and they have runners at first and third, trailing 6-0. Party's prime cut of the game, the grand slam by Colby Rasmus. Joey Votto, quiet in this series against Trevor Miller. It was a nasty slider. Very good pitch.
I don't think he liked that call and said something to our home plate umpire. A weird reaction from Votto.
Strike 2.
Trevor Miller is pitching in all 3 games here in Cincinnati, and Dennis Reyes has not pitched since August the 3rd.
Oh-2 pitch. Votto hits it out to left. Drops in for a hit. Run will score. On an 0-2 pitch, Votto picks up the RBI.
You saw how far outside Molina was. He wanted the slider again. Miller wanted the fastball, but I'm sure Molina said, okay, fine, but do not throw it for a strike. Give Votto some credit as he kind of reached mislocation, got a little more of the plate than he wanted, and he went with a pitch up and away.
Here's Scott Rowland. They did have Hawksworth getting loose.
And now Tony will come out and I'm sure make a pitching change.
And that'll be it. He'll go to the bullpen again. McDougal coming in. Looking at the Central and last playoff appearances for these teams. Cubs and Brewers both represented the Central in 08. Cardinals last year in 09, swept by the Dodgers, but last win in postseason play. Jeff Weaver, October 27th of 2006 in the World Series. Houston 05. They made it to the World Series that year. Cincinnati 1995 and Pittsburgh 1992. Mike McDougal comes into the ball game, the hard-throwing right-hander. He'll get Scott Rowland.
McDougal got roughed up his last 2 times out. They were against Houston. He's allowed all 4 inherited runners to score, but in fairness, there was a few missed plays. Balls that should have been made that were not, and allowed those inherited runners to score. But remember, this Reds team is very resilient. They've come from behind a ton of times.
So that's why in a 6-1 game we had the 3rd pitcher in the inning. 2 outs and 2 on. Fastball and a strike at 96 from McDougal. Seen some very good appearances and others where McDougal has gotten out of trouble. He was roughed up in one of those back home at Busch Stadium. Rolling earlier today, almost hit a home run out to left, stayed in the ballpark. 14 ground ball outs by Wainwright today. That's taken a little low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And we're not seeing the standing water in the outfield, but you know it still has to be very treacherous and a slow running track for the outfielders. So a gapper could be very costly.
Roland pops it up. Molina with room puts it away. We head to the 9th. 6-1 Cardinals. Baseball today presented by Bud Light Lime. The drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. By AT&T Mobility. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Bank of America. Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. Cordero, their closer, into the ballgame, and he'll get Albert Pujols, Matt Holliday, and Colby Rasmus. 6-1 St. Louis. The Cardinals about hit Cincinnati 11-5.
Albert looking to extend his hitting streak to 11 games. He did extend his run scored streak to 10. And there's a lot of people down on Cordero, but he is 3rd in the National League in saves. 30. He's recorded his 30 saves for 6 times in his career, including all the last 4 years. He's blown 6 saves, and the biggest thing is he's walked an awful lot of batters.
Pujols reaching for it. Phillips out. Tiptoeing out there for the first out.
Alan Craig will get his first. As you see, 54th appearance, 3 wins and 7 decisions. High ERA for a closer, and he has 30 saves and 36 opportunities.
Thankless task. When you get the saves you're supposed to, when you blow them, they're all over you.
And that's why some people can handle that and other people can't. See, a lot of guys have been very good 8th inning men, but they always have the luxury of having that big gun coming in behind them, cleaning up their mess.
1 ball, 1 strike on Alan Craig.
And you become a closer and there's nobody behind you, so you have to get, if you get in a jam, you have to fight your way through it.
Craig with a high fly ball, right field. Bruce, 2 outs. Well, we're looking forward to being back at Busch Stadium and the Cubs this weekend. I'm sure he's watching, and we understand he'll be joining us on Friday night. Let's hope that's the case. Our buddy Jim Jackson.
Good. That's great news.
We've missed Jim on the road. I know the guys on the radio side really have missed him.
Oh, most definitely.
2 outs, and here is Colby. First pitch, a strike.
Well, Clay just told me yesterday that he had to go help John and make sure we could get the Chet. Oh, Chet. I thought it was Clay, but but Chet was telling me he was assigned to work that game last night and had to help John get on the air.
One and two.
Rory made the comment the other day in Florida that can't wait for Jim Jackson to get back. Franklin warming up.
It's pulled foul into the upper deck. Colby playing with so much more confidence, isn't he?
Yes. I'm sure a little pressure off him, get that grand slam, and then to do it in dramatic fashion in nothing ball game, playing for first place. It's down 0-2 in that count. Battled all the way back, fouled off some tough pitches, took a tough pitch, and then on a 3-2 pitch sent it right over the center field wall.
On that pitch, fouled it back. 6-1 here. Astros after 7, trailing their game 2-1. There is some day baseball happening right now. Cardinals can hold on. They'll have 64 wins. And closing in on the best record in the National League.
And kind of cutting that, getting that record on the road a little more respectable.
Go to 26-31 if they can hold on. Colby strikes out. Bottom of the 9th coming up. Cardinals looking for a sweep when we come back. Budweiser player of the game, Colby Rasmus, 2 for 5 with a grand slam, a single, couple of runs scored. He's our Budweiser player of the game. And Franklin into the ball game for St. Louis.
And picked up his 20th save last night. Not a save opportunity, but pitched the club into first place. And with a victory here today, they'll be 17-8 since the All-Star break.
Johnny Gomes to lead it off. First pitch, a strike. One, two, three, top of the 9th by Cordero. 6-1 here in the bottom half. Mentioned the breaking ball earlier, Al. And that's what we're seeing here with Johnny Gomes.
Yeah, he's getting a steady diet of them and swinging and missing, or not really doing much with it.
If you're the Reds, and I'm sure some fans are wondering, they have seen recently collapses by this team, not this late in the season, but can they bounce back? Plenty of time, obviously, only a game out, but it has been a tough series for them against St. Louis. This place was charged up, too.
It was ready for a sweep. It's not the visitors.
Center field. Rasmus there.
Showed the last playoff appearance was 95 for the Reds. Been 14 years. really the last meaningful series they've played wasn't, I guess, was back in '99. Been a long time, and they're on the way up. They've got a very talented club. They're not going away. They're going to be chasing the Cardinals.
Ball 1 to Jay Bruce, 1 for 3.
But I'm sure they're going to look in the mirror and say, hey, we're not quite as good just yet. I'd say they can't take the division, but Cardinals made a statement.
At the knees and a strike, 2-1. Another fabulous pitching performance here today by Adam Wainwright. Has a chance to go to 17-6. The 2-1 to Jay Bruce. 2-2.
It almost looks like the way he's stretching out there that maybe he's got a little pull.
Fly ball out to left. 2 outs. A look at Molina and Phillips and what they did this series. Yadier in the thick of things along with Phillips, and Molina goes 5 for 12 with a home run, 3 RBIs, couple of runs scored. Brandon Phillips quiet, 2 for 14 with a couple of RBIs. And that's a strike. Juan Francisco, the final hope for Cincinnati. The Reds never had a lead in this series.
Just outplayed entirely, outpitched, out-hit. They did win one category.
Chopped right side. Schumacher to Franklin. It's a sweep in Cincy. Cardinals in first place all by themselves. 6-1 the final. Cardinals 1 game ahead. 2 hours and 49 minutes following the rain delay. The Cardinals hold on. And it's win number 64 for the Redbirds in a sweep in Cincy. Post-game show coming up next.
Game is over with a Cardinal victory. There are brooms here, Rick.
I thought that was just an expression. We actually brought them out.
We brought the brooms because the Cardinals brought their brooms to Cincinnati. We thought we'd have them right here. Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live coming up. We're going to talk about it, break it down, show all the highlights from it. Your thoughts?
Cardinals brought a lot to Cincinnati. They brought great pitching. They have a newfound intensity and personality and continue to get the big hit. Cardinals in the last 10 games batting .430 with runners in scoring position. Colby Rasmus, the big hit today.
Certainly had that. Plenty more from the lefty coming up, and we may have to lose the brooms, but we love the sweep. Not long for them to cool off after yesterday's brawl on the river, but the Redbirds do complete the sweep this afternoon in Cincy. We'll break down the final game of the Red Hot Series. Plus, the Cardinals turn to Adam Wainwright to close out the Reds, and Waino continues his march towards being robbed of a Cy Young Award again. Joining the Roosters reaction, player reaction as well, plus the good doctor is in. Dr. Rick Horton with his prescription for the rest of the season. Happy birthday to Hulk Hogan. What you gonna do? Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live runs wild all over you, brother. Stick.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
3-2 is hit out to deep center field. At the track, at the wall, grand slam! They've done it again! Grand slam, Colby Rasmus!
Colby Rasmus providing much of the power for the Cardinals this afternoon as they sweep away the Reds. 6-1 the final, and they move into sole possession of first place. Jim Hayes moments ago catching up with our Mid-America Chevrolet dealers player of the game, Colby Rasmus.
Colby Rasmus celebrating his birthday today with a Cardinal win and his first career Grand Slam. You guys came to Cincinnati 2 games back. Now you leave all alone in first place. That's got to feel great.
There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of riffraff going on, but you know, they might have woke up a little sleeping giant. You know, we came out and played hard, and you know, left it all on the table.
Riffraff, some comments from that side, a little scuffle. Do you guys think maybe you got some motivation from that?
Maybe so. Well, with the crowd getting into the game yesterday, goodness gracious, it was like being in the playoffs last year for me. I mean, it was loud. You know, just got the adrenaline pumping, got the heart going a little bit, man. That was a lot of fun to play that game.
Let's talk about the Grand Slam. Very good at bat, but you had to be patient during it.
Well, he's tough. He's always tough on me. Royo, man, he makes me work, mixing speeds up, and just, you know, he happened to leave that changeup out over there, and I was looking for it, and you know, connected with it. Thank goodness.
Last thing, Wainwright, outstanding today.
He's, you know, I call him the man. That's my nickname for him, because every time he goes out there, he's a bulldog. He gets himself prepared every day to help us win, and I got a lot of respect for him. He's a great pitcher.
Happy birthday. Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jim.
All right, did you hear this guy? There was riffraff going on.
Got a lot of nicknames, does Colby. Hello,
Thanks,
everybody.
Mr. Jim.
It's Mr. Jim. Welcome inside our Fox Sports Midwest studio for the afternoon edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Plenty of reaction. Tony La Russa's thoughts, plus Rick's going to play the role of Dr. Horton and tell us exactly what the prescription is for the future for this Cardinals club to continue what they've really done over this last 3 games.
Well, Mr. Pat, nothing but good news again from Cincinnati. And really, Adam Wainwright, you can call him the man, you can call him the bulldog, you can call him whatever you want to. But how exciting is it for the Cardinals to have had those 3 starting pitchers in Cincinnati? I think they've sent a message to the rest of baseball during this series that when we throw our 3 best, we're as good as anybody. We've got Carpenter, Garcia, and Wainwright, and they absolutely dominated a very good Reds lineup. And forget all the riffraff that was going on. The pitching is still the difference in what happened in Cincinnati.
Riffraff. From the field there, as we just heard from Colby Rasmus, we're going up to the booth. A view from the booth in the Queen City. There's Dan McLaughlin and Al Raboski. They rejoin us to help talk about what was a very pivotal series, won all 3 by the Cardinals, guys.
Well, no doubt, big sweep for the Redbirds. Still a long ways to go. But since the trade of Ryan Ludwig, 10 games now, Al, Cardinals are 7-3, and the outfield has really played well and hit the ball well.
Well, that's it. We worried about the offense. Would there be enough? But you can't say enough about what Holiday and his fellow outfielders have done. Holiday's just been on fire. John Jay, whatever you do with him, he just keeps on picking up hits, and it's usually a multi-hit game. But the big star on his birthday was Colby Rasmus, his first career Grand Slam, and that made the difference right there. That a 0-0 ball game to a convincing 4-0 lead for Wainwright.
So Wainwright, outstanding. Probably would have gone the distance without the rain delay, but 17 wins now. Amazing year he's had.
Well, and I don't think he's going to stop either, so let's see how high he can get into the 20s.
All right, off day tomorrow. Cubs in town on Friday night at 6:30. Pat, Rick, we'll see you then.
All right, safe travels back, gentlemen. We'll catch up with you on Friday. Let's look at the complete set of highlights of this one. A pitcher's duel between Bronson Arroyo and Adam Wainwright through the first 4 innings. Arroyo here strikes out Brendan Ryan in the second to escape a bases-loaded 2-out jam. No score through an inning and a half. In fact, still scoreless in the 4th. And Rick Wainwright getting ground ball after ground ball all afternoon. Gets 3 of them here in this 4th inning.
Not a lot of strikeouts early on, but he had the ground ball working, meaning he kept the ball low in the strike zone. I thought he had very good stuff. Later on, he may get some strikeouts when he needs them, though.
Top of the 5th, another bases-loaded opportunity for the Cardinals with 2 outs. This time, Colby Rasmus comes through dead center on a 3-2 pitch. And his first career Grand Slam for Colby Rasmus on his birthday, number 19 as far as homers go for the season, and it's 4-0. Wainwright is cruising in the 6th. There he gets Brendan Phillips to ground weakly to first. Phillips 0 for 13 to that point in the season. I should say 1 for 13 in the series. Ends up 2 for 14. There's another strikeout for Wainwright. Joey Votto, 20 consecutive scoreless innings for Wainwright at that point. Cardinals add to their lead in the 7th. Yadier Molina bounces a hit up the middle. Matt Holliday comes in 5-0. 5th hit and 3rd RBI for Yadi in the series. Next up, Skip Schumacher. He pokes one through the left side. Rasmus scores, makes it 6-0. Skip's big series continues. That's his 5th RBI. And then Adam Wainwright. Well, it was only the rain delay that stopped him from picking up another complete game, but he goes 7 shutout innings, allowing just 2 hits, improves to 17-6, so he ties Ubaldo Jimenez for the National League lead with 17 victories, and his ERA now under 2 at 1.99. But check out the offense, Rick. 11 hits. This is now 10 straight games that the Cardinals have scored 4 or more runs. They're 7-3 in those games.
A lot of heroes this afternoon in Cincinnati. Skip Schumacher had 3 hits in this game. Rasmus's home run, but Wainwright still the big star. 17-6, a 1.99 ERA. This is a tough league. This is a tough job for pitchers to have an ERA under 2 in this era. And for Wainwright to be at that point right now, this late in the season, is just amazing. And I agree with Al. Let's see how far he can go.
Well, and this adds up to a sweep as well. And that sweep means that the Cardinals, who came into the series 2 games back, now leave Cincinnati 1 game up. And don't forget, they have a couple of games in hand because of a rain out and just the schedule quirk. The Cardinals will make up at least one of those 2 games soon, and 1 game could turn into 1.5, could turn into 2. But the point being, the Cardinals are in pretty good shape, albeit a month and a half of the season left to go.
And I think more important than that, I think whether they're there in the standings, first, second, doesn't really matter. I think more important than that, although that's certainly good news, is the fact that the Cardinals seem to have developed some personality. You can call it chemistry, personality, energy. Any of those 3 words would fit. I think what's happened is in Cincinnati is this team that has been kind of blah, blah, blah all season long, finally has developed something, and maybe Brandon Phillips will be the guy that finally ignites this team into being who they could be when they left spring training, and now they are a team that's on a roll, hitting well, pitching well, and certainly you're going to have to contend with them in the playoffs in the National League going forward if the Cardinals continue playing the way they are. And I just think the energy, when Colby Rasmus hit his home run, the bench went nuts. They went absolutely nuts in a way that I haven't seen all year long.
Well, and the irony of this is the Reds have been beating so many teams all year at their ballpark with dramatic home runs, memorable, towering home runs, and this one was a scenario where 2 of these 3 games were basically won on grand slams, not unlike many games over the last 2 seasons for the Cardinals in Cincinnati. We're going to start back on July 3rd of '09. Remember this? Albert Pujols with one of those blasts. With
Is that David Weathers pitching?
Yeah,
probably.
So. Grand slam for Albert.
He's done it a few times.
October 1st. Wait. Is this Chris Carpenter? Chris Carpenter with the grand slam in his last start.
I love that moment. He was so excited about that. He couldn't believe he did it.
And then we come to opening day of 2010, and there's Yadier Molina. How about opposite field? Remember, I think Albert said, look for the pitch outside and go with it, and he did.
Exactly. What a great moment that was. Albert predicting that he could maybe go deep the other way.
And then it's an opposite field shot for an unlikely hero, Skip Schumacher. First career grand slam for him. And how about first career grand slam for Colby Rasmus today? This one coming off of Bronson Arroyo.
Well, you're talking about a whole lot of runs when you add all those grand slams together. Amazing, all in that one ballpark. It is a hitter's ballpark, but the Reds, have had better pitching this year. So the fact that the Cardinals have 2 in this week is pretty amazing. And Colby Rasmus's grand slam today was the big moment in today's game.
And a lot of things to talk about when referring to these grand slams. Hitting 2 in 1 series for the first time since last year in Kansas City. First time 2 Cardinals have hit their first career grand slams in the same series ever. 3 grand slams at Great American Ballpark, most visiting park in 1 season for the Cardinals, and 5 grand slams in the last 2 years at Cincinnati. Well, that is the most ever hit in Cincinnati, and certainly, for whatever reason, everybody hits home runs there. We understand that. But the grand slam variety are something special.
Well, they're game changers is
yes.
what they are, and that's exactly what happened. This game was in doubt. Bronson Arroyo was pitching kind of the way he can pitch, changing speeds, arm angles, all of that. He's having a very, very good season. And, of course, Adam Wainwright on the Cardinals side was locked in as well. So, close game, 0-0. Maybe we've got a 1-0 game, 2-1 game, and all of a sudden Colby Rasmus took the life out of the crowd and I think the Cincinnati Reds with that grand slam after he was behind in the count. Arroyo was very close to being able to put him away and couldn't do it.
Well, and Colby talked about that at bat in his interview with Jim Hayes on the field. Let's go to our Don Brown deal of the game right now and look at it pitch by pitch. You mentioned getting behind, and then he works it finally to 3-2, but go ahead and break it down.
Well, this is what hitters are able to do. They're able to get back in the count. There's a fastball down and away on the outside corner. All of a sudden, it's 0-2. Now you've got to protect. Arroyo tries to get him up twice in the zone to chase. Kind of hangs a pitch there, gets away with it. Colby's now seen a few more pitches, again trying to go up in the zone, and then he just leaves one right down in the middle of the plate. And Rasmus had seen enough pitches. He was able to keep his bat back, his weight back, and power this ball to center field. And again, it ignites the Cardinal bench. It deflates Great American Ballpark. And it's kind of just another one of those things that you look at when you look at this series as a great Cardinal moment, and very few good moments for the Cincinnati Reds in this series. You've got a team now that's probably got one of their own teammates who they're not happy with for what he may have said to ignite these Cardinals. But you've got a lot of energy within the Cardinals now because everybody really contributed in this series in a way that we haven't seen as well in 2010 as certainly as we expected.
And Colby's grand slam, a Don Brown deal. You said it real quick during our live chat today about what about the bat?
What I said is it's much better to lead with your bat than with your mouth.
Thank you, Brandon Phillips. We appreciate that for whatever your contribution. Perhaps maybe they'll vote him a playoff share if the Cardinals continue making it a playoff. Tony TV, Tony Lewis's thoughts coming up on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.